Segovia Show.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Andres Segovia Show. Thank you so much for joining me on this, my first anniversary episode. Woohoo! Yeah, I know, it's amazing. Where does the time go? I don't know, but I'm glad that you're along for the ride. It's been an incredible journey this past year, and this was meant to be my news roundup segment, the way the things line up for my production schedule. So I figured, with all the craziness that's gone on, why don't I do something different, something a little new? And this is actually the first official Andres Segovia Show, I guess, video that I do, because the show is a podcast. Okay, first and foremost, straight out, it's a podcast, and that's where I like for it to live and stay, mostly because that's the medium a lot of people tend to digest. When they go to YouTube, it's more about, being entertained, and there's a lot more work involved in video, but this one's a special one because it's the first anniversary program, and since the news radio segment, for those that follow my show, is the most experimented on type of show, I figured, you know what, let's just wing it, because seriously, these are very interesting times, right? So I figured, you know what, I'm going to try something different, something a little new. I hope you like it. I'm looking for feedback once this is all said and done. So let me know what you think. So I got some stuff on the agenda. I'm going to be talking, again, I will be talking about the news roundup, a little bit different though, and you'll see why. So I'm going to talk about the news roundup, and I have some questions that I've received across the socials. So I'll be taking all your questions that I've received in the past 2 weeks, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to answer them on this one. So I will be getting to that segment. You'll see when I announce it. And I do tend to timestamp these. Look, this was initially intended to be a live stream, but with everybody and their grandmother on the internet, oh my goodness, it was so slow. Painfully slow. I think I stream tested like 2 or 3 times. The lag wasn't good. And some of you that have seen my recent videos with other friends might have seen there's a lot of dropped frames, lag in audio, unsynchronized. Like, I can't do that for my first episode, anniversary special. It's like, okay, fine. I'm gonna pre-record it, not the way I wanted it to go down, but that's just the way it turned out. So I hope you understand that this was meant to be a live stream, but unfortunately circumstances did not allow me to do it. But still, I will be talking about life in a time of COVID-19. So I wanted to just share what's been going on behind the scenes with me and what I've been doing during this lockdown. And I will get to the news roundup. And I did introduce a new segment to this called the opinion section. I'm evolving it. I'm going to call it Setting the Record Straight. And the Setting the Record Straight subject is going to be the hysteria versus open economy, because these two debates are happening as we speak. So we'll see how that goes, on how to address it, and we'll get to that subject when we get there. So first and foremost, I want to thank each and every you once again. Heartfelt thank you so much. It's been an incredible journey. A lot of milestones have been hit in the past year. I mean, for those of you that have been subscribed to YouTube, first and foremost to you, thank you the most. I know that you tune into my channel for tech stuff, so when this reboot happened, like, what's going on here? But I did still do a lot of tech items, and those of you that have watched it have responded to and have liked it. So thank you for that. But also, I feel you. It's the same. That's why I put that content out. I think one of my most highest responded to videos recently was me venting about the Blackberry news back in February, and quite honestly, I felt I was the only one doing that. No, everybody else just went the professional route. I'm like, dude, I've been warning about that. So when it happened, I had to, just let it all out, because it was really disappointing to see that it all came to a head. But anyway, some of the milestones is that I did cross over 1 million views. No bots involved. It was all organic growth. You like the content. Thank you so much. And, there's some controversial stuff that happened too. But I thank you very, very much. And even though YouTube is now, it's kind of uneven, where I'm being censored in some cases, or some of my videos tend to be demonetized. It's been crazy. I don't want to give you all the inside baseball stuff that's happened in the past 2 weeks, but it's been nuts. I just gotta tell you, it's been nuts, especially with this whole crackdown about those of us that talk about COVID-19. Yeah, it can get a little out of hand. So I did publish a book, subject like this, the Andres Segovia Show, Transcripts of the Early Days. It's my first book. It's been something I worked on for like 15 years. So I'm really happy to finally see that one published. It's not my first published book. That's a series that I'm working on, which I'll give you an update in a moment. But the book itself is something that I worked on a long time ago that I never thought would see the light of day. First off, because I didn't think there was a sizable enough audience. And now that there is, like, woohoo! I feel like I published the book more for me than for you. But for those of you that haven't picked it up yet, by all means, the link is available on my website, www.theandresegovia.com. It's available on Amazon, print only, no Kindle. Sorry. I mean, how much of my voice do you got to hear, right? But thank you for listening to my voice. But the thing is, pick up a book, people. It helps you, especially in this time. You're going to want to pick up a book. And speaking of books, that's why I'm gonna take a little bit of a hiatus. Not so much where I'm gonna stop content, but I will change the way I produce content because I have to finish the third book in my series, The Many Misadventures of Enoch Bellagio. The third book was supposed to be published last year, but because I had to replace it with the Andres Segovia Show book, that kind of got pushed out the wayside. I couldn't get it out the door before the end of last year, so I have to get it out this year. So I have to finish that book. So it's changing my schedule just a little bit, giving you a heads up on that. One of the other things that happened when I did the Andres Segovia Show long time ago, it was more about political activism. For those that don't know about it, more political activism, social commentary, and all that. It's even though I battled in the political arena of ideas, it was stressful. There's just so many shout matches. So what benefited me was being able to turn my brain away from that and focus on entertainment, in this case Hollywood. I was going to be involved in some capacity in Hollywood, especially when I was flexing my connections in film music and development, but that never materialized because I got called somewhere else. But my passion for film score and movies themselves never stopped. So I did the Critic Corner as a way kind of like to still practice my hobby, but not for a professional career. And it worked pretty well as a way to balance the things with the Andres Segovia Show, because it was very heated in the Andres Segovia Show, but very well balanced in the Critic Corner. And I've just been happy to actually bring it back. I've done 2 or 3 videos now on this with friends. So if you haven't checked that out yet, by all means, check it out. This is going to be all rolled into Off the Record, but Off the Record is available to everybody right now especially because of the lockdown. So more entertainment for you. So that leads me to, what is Off the Record? I speak about this a lot, and some of you have heard it, but like, what's Off the Record? Look, a lot of people that I know have expressed to me, Andres, I want to support your show, but real estate really isn't the thing for me. But I like what you have to say about other things. Well, yeah, I know. And the Andres Segovia Show is the front for what I do for business. But I also talk about things that interest me that are not business related. That's where Off the Record comes in, because I can talk about anything and everything that I want. And I do exclusive shows on my website only, because I'm not controlled by YouTube. I'm not controlled by Facebook or Twitter, and even my own host for my main show. Because I've been targeted recently. I've been targeted. People trying to silence me just because I have a different opinion. I'm like, but why? I'm only talking business over here. But because they know me from something else, they want to silence me. So I'm like, you know what? You can't silence me on my website, because it's all owned and done by me. So that's why Off the Record was born. It was born as a place where I can have a safe space of my own and convey to you my pet peeves and behind the scenes stuff, and just sound off on other things that I otherwise wouldn't be able to do so on YouTube, because rules they have. So anyway, that's that. That's why it's Off the Record, and that's why I kind of did it behind a registration wall, because I didn't want just anybody to get in there. I only wanted those that really wanted to hear the rest of it to be coming over to it. But I know some people just don't want to make the effort. I gotta go to the website. That's a lot of work, Andres. I don't want to do it. I'm sorry. I just do a sign in. So I'm only gonna ask you to do this one thing. For you iOS users, iPhone, iPad, download the Castro player. And for those of you on Android, use Google Podcast. Type in this URL appearing at the bottom of your screen. I'm not putting it in the video description. I'm only putting it here, and I'm gonna put it at the end of this video. This is the feed for the Off the Record. This was for members only, and you have a chance to just grab this URL, put it into one of these 2 apps, because those are the only 2 that I recommend to work for you, and you'll have access to everything, including exclusive shows like the Soundtrack Corner, where I host a show that I did on the newsreel. So I'm bringing that show over to the Andres to off the record, for you to be able to just hear, just some of the soundtracks and music that I like that you might be introduced to. So it's a way for me to talk about and expand on different things, and just overall fun. It comes out every Saturday, and I'm doing an interesting series now that you might want to check out. So that's look, all this has happened in the past year, and I'm grateful to be able to pass on this content to all of you. It's fun. It doesn't cost you a penny. It's also my way of saying thank you, because now that I have an audience, I'm like, why not? So it's been great, and the exchanges that I've been able to have across socials has also been rewarding for me, because that's what this whole thing is all about. That's why I wanted to do this live, so I could interact with you. And this was meant to be some kind of like a talk show style program. That's why I enjoy the feedback, whether it's positive or negative or disagrees with what I say. I do enjoy it, because I'm able to address certain things. Like my epic episode for my show recently was the housing affordability crisis, and that was in response to a lot that was happening in the industry, and because I was getting feedback on YouTube comments and on Facebook about talking and addressing this very issue, because some people thought that I only saw it from one perspective. It's like, no, it's a more balanced view that I present, but if you only hear snippets here and there, you're gonna miss the whole picture. So I'm like, you know what, I gotta do an episode where I address it all. And the thing is that I recorded 4.5 hours of material for that. 4.5 hours, 2 of which were unusable. But I had to trim it down to about 55 minutes. And even with 4.5 hours, I couldn't squeeze everything in there. You just can't. There's just so much to this issue. So anyway, that was a great thing that I did. And if you missed out, I've been interviewed by Rent Prep. That was a great interview that I had, timely too, and it kind of spoke to the times right before the lockdown, and I was proven right thereafter. So just check it out, please. That's gone on. So anyway, that's the long and short. Buy my books. So those links are available at www.theandrewsegovia.com. And I just want to move on to just tell you what's been going on. Okay, before I get to the news roundup. So this segment right now is going to be live during COVID-19, because look, a lot of us are on lockdown or quarantine, but some of us provide essential services, and I'm one of those. I provide essential services through what I do for property management and in managing a construction company, because construction and housing are part of essential business. And actually, before I went live on this, the real estate services are now officially considered essential, all of them. So boom, I'm completely essential. I haven't stopped working, so I still work. I'm working more now than longer hours, it seems. But I do have to comply with the social distancing mandates and all that. That's why I have my office staff working remotely. So that's been good. But during this time, I think that some people that are not used to being so cooped in are having a hard time adapting. And in my case, I can safely say that I've quite enjoyed being able to connect more with my family. Maybe not as much as they would like, but I have been able to do something different with them. Because I've been working longer hours, so I still don't have that kind of time. I mean, even tonight, I was behind schedule. I had technical issues. So when I finally got home, the wife looked so frustrated, and it was night, and I was frustrated too because of my technical problems and having to produce this episode. And I looked at her, I was like, "What's going on? What are you waiting for? I've been waiting for you to have dinner." And when I saw that, now I could have easily just gotten upset and you know what, you shouldn't have waited for me to eat. But I saw from another perspective. I'm like, it's time to eat. I was supposed to jump on a conference call, but I'm like, my family needs me. So I just do it. So I gladly ate with my wife and my 3 kids, and it was nice. It was a nice time. And since the kids are at home, I think one of the fun things have been that I've been able to flex my instructor and educator talents. Just take off one hat, like, all right, I'm a dad, now I'm an educator kind of thing. That's what a parent's supposed to be in the first place. I have enjoyed doing the homeschooling part with them after work, because I had to. I've done history classes, science classes. I showed them how clouds are made, why it rains, and all that. Telling them history of world history and then American history, and just nature itself. It's been, oh my goodness, it's been so much fun. It captivates their attention, and it's it's just been a lot of fun. But while I'm not around, and I know it can be hard, that's why one of the things that's most precious during this time, I grew up collecting Legos. So I have a treasure trove of Legos. And because I have young kids, 6, 4, and 2. If that's their ages. I can't just pull the Legos out for them to play with. You know what? I said to heck with it, because Legos are an endless resource for fun and creativity. That's exactly what happened. They are loving the Legos. And that's not even everything. So they were like, whoa, look at all these Legos. Yeah, eat your heart out, Lego store. I have more. I have the original sealed Lego Batman. Original sealed Lego Batman, and not the double dip nonsense. And I'm looking forward to building my way up, no pun intended, to be able to build with them, especially with my daughter's birthday being tomorrow. So when this goes live, the next day is my daughter's birthday, and she turns 7. You know, it's like 7 years, really? You know, it's time flies, and I get to be there all on the way. I have been, for those of you that follow me on Instagram, that's kind of like the behind the scenes, behind the life of a broker kind of thing. From what I do, I've been posting a lot about my home gym, because I work out mostly from home, even despite the fact that I had gym memberships. I mostly work out from home because of my work schedule and because of my family. So I usually work out either early in the morning, and I can't waste my time driving to the gym. And same thing at night. I can't just go out at night just because there's still a lot of traffic out there. It's crazy. But anyway, that was then. So a good thing I worked out from home, because look at it now. People were asking me, it's like, how do you do it at home? Like, man, can you give me some tips? It's like, sure. So that's been fun. What else have I done? Catching up with friends. You know, that's why you saw some random videos put up. Like, Andres put up a video talking about movies and TV and books. Then he put up a video talking about Keanu Reeves, and then after that, talking about soundtracks. Yeah, because I'm connected with friends and we can't meet face to face. So we started talking about, you, dude, I'm going to hit the record button and just turn this to an episode of the Critic Corner. Oh my goodness, it's been fun. So like, woohoo, took advantage of that. No two birds, one stone. So yeah, it's been fun. And on a more, I guess, serious note, like I guess for those that know me, would know that I'm a practicing Christian. So as a practicing Christian, it's been interesting to get my perspective on what's going on now with this whole virus thing. I'm not going to get into the whole apocalyptic thing. Is it the book of Revelations? Is it God's judgment on earth and all that? You know, take it as you may. Even the non-religious types are saying, this is Mother Nature's wrath against humanity. Look, I'm not going to get into any of that yet. That's going to be for off the record. What I'm going to tell you is this, though. Last year, when the faith community felt it was just such a difficult time politically, where a lot of stuff would go against them, despite the fact that supposedly there's a president that favors them. There was a lot of grief in seeing that the laws are stacked against them. That's the general feeling. But I told them, look, because for those of us that are practicing Christians, believe that. Now that, I don't know if you heard that, but that sounded like a huge explosion. Interesting. I got this on camera, and I have no idea what that was, but it just shook the whole studio. So, like, whoa. It happened way outside, so I have no idea where that is. I'm going to look into that for sure, though. I'm keeping a vigilant eye out. But anyway, speaking about Jesus Christ right now, kaboom, did he arrive? Well, anyway, what I was getting at was that those of the Christian faith believe that Jesus Christ is coming back, and there will be different signs because the book of Revelation says that he will. I'm not going to proselytize, okay, folks, but all I'm going to add on to that is that I've maintained this for the longest time, that when he returns, because I do believe he will, that I expect America to have another great awakening, or also known as a spiritual awakening, because for those of you that have actually studied unbiased American history, we've had 2 great awakenings, and we're starting to see it now. In seeing it now, the way it's played out, it's incredible. People coming together in prayer, praying for our leaders, whether they're Christian or not, doesn't matter, because in this time of crisis, they're the leaders. So we're praying that they gain the perspective and wisdom to guide us out of this, and to do what's in the best interest of the public, not a select few. So it's been amazing to see that all play out. And that's all I got to say about that. If I do expand on that kind of commentary, it's going to be in the off the record stuff. So you want to make sure you subscribe to that. I'm going to now move over to the question and answer section. I did compile some questions. Some of them I've already answered in the form of different episodes on podcasts that I'll relate to. So when I get to them, you'll know. But after this, I'm going to jump quickly to the news roundup so that I could get that out of the way and then move on. You should let's see. Yeah, I got some stuff here. Sorry, I'm looking at like 3 different screens right now, so I'm trying to keep it all together while making sure this is recording fine, because I have had some technical difficulties today that have not made me happy, but there we go. All right, questions. These are compiled from anywhere. By the way, everybody that submitted questions, thank you so much. These come from the socials and YouTube comments and from people that I've seen face to face. So the first one I want to address is along the business lines. The question is, Andres, is there a repeal of AB 1482 in California? So this is the California assembly bill that was signed by the governor back in October last year that basically made the California a rent control state that went to effect January 1st. So the short answer is no. There is no there is no repeal in the works. The answer is actually worse. There's another bill coming down the line. Actually, it's coming in the form of a proposition. It's being called the Rental Affordability Act. I've been talking about it and warning about it for several episodes now. But with all this calamity and the crisis going on, I have no idea where this is going to land. All you have to know is this, that once it is approved by I don't know if it's the state controller or the auditor that does this, whenever they get back into session, we'll know what proposition number is assigned to it, because right now we don't know. And we don't even know what's in it. But as someone that's kept a pulse on this, I could tell you, they are aiming for Costa-Hawkins. Costa-Hawkins is the only remaining landlord protection law in the Constitution of California. And I believe they're just aiming at to repeal it. And if that repeals, it's rent control on every existing thing here. But it just makes no sense since some of that stuff's not even affecting some of the tenants. But it's not something I'm going to get into in this episode. I've already addressed it in other ones. But it's just for your information there. One of the big questions because of this crisis is, what does COVID-19 mean for the housing market? This one, part of the answer is in the news roundup, so I'm going to address a little bit there, but I can tell you what I have noticed. I have noticed both actions. People getting out of the market because their employment has been affected by this. We've had 3 million people alone in California file for unemployment in a week. Man, that's scary. But we've also had the Federal Reserve cut down rates. One thing I haven't seen happen, at least not quickly enough yet, is a reduction in the prices of properties. So we haven't seen that go down. But other things I'll address in the news roundup because this is going to overlap and I don't want to, just do it twice. Okay. Are you still working? Well, yeah, you got your answer. I told you yes. Are your tenants paying? The short answer is yes, but then again, this can change. So they're still paying. We've been in communication with them. So we have had one tenant that said they're gonna have trouble paying, and we're like, well, we totally understand. And you know what this tenant did? It says, but I'm gonna pay you a portion. I'm like, well, we understand that you can't pay, but she insisted on paying a portion, and God bless her. We're all in this together. We understand this. And that's why landlords, I made an episode about this. Just understand that these are really hard times and some of us are going to be harder hit than others. So it's just be in communication with your tenants. Be supportive too, because you don't want to let the bad guy. You want to let the good guy, the understanding person. So I recommend that you reach out to them before time comes. Okay. So in relations to that, if we can't pay our mortgage, what if we can't pay our mortgage because of this? And this also kind of goes in with the rents. I've done 2 episodes, one addressing rental and the other one addressing mortgage. So it's a kind of landlord and one for tenants. So just check them. Those actually were published last week because we got more information from the state. Some of them were through executive orders that were mandating about what to do if your income is affected by COVID-19 and how to approach things, because there is a structure and an order if you cannot pay your rent or your mortgage, and a process that you must do in order to both notify and protect yourself. Because the last thing you want is this thing coming for collections later. So check out those episodes. I've already addressed them. This one is a little toughy because some people will take it political. What do you think of the federal stimulus package? What do I think of the federal stimulus package? Well, I can tell you this much. For those progressives, it's not communism. And for those on the conservative side, it's not communism. Because the reason I say that is because there's people throwing memes all over the place. It's like, I want to end my trial subscription to communism. That was a conservative that said it. Then another one was making fun of the MAGA hat wearers about socialism bad. And the other button was like, accept the whatever check that the stimulus was going to provide for the people. Like, look, folks, these are different times, similar to war times. This is not a communist thing, although that's what Congress wanted to do. It could get that way if the next stimulus bill comes across. This is not a bailout. Don't misunderstand. This is not a bailout. When the government is requiring businesses, non-essential businesses, to stop, they know what they're telling them to do. You cannot work and produce right now. But as a consequence, as an insurance, it's like, this is a timely thing, just for a little bit of time. This is something to help get you by while we figure this thing out, because the whole thing about COVID-19 is that there's still a lot that we don't know. And we're learning more day by day. Some of it's actually more positive than negative, but the media like to keep up the negative stuff because it gives it more press. But the other question is it enough? Well, that's why I told you they're already working on another one, because we don't know how long this lockdown's going to last. So we'll see where this all turns out. If I weigh in on this a little more, it'll be on Off the Record. So again, stay tuned for that. This one's a tech question. Do you prefer the Blackberry Z10 or the Z30? I did do a short response on to the YouTube comment, but I'll expand on it here. Because why am I even being asked that? They still make Blackberries? Yeah, I don't know anymore. So those that follow BlackBerry know that I really don't know anymore. So this is what I will tell you. Between those two phones, because these are the ancient BlackBerry 10 OS days, because now it's Android-powered BlackBerries. Those great devices that never really got their time in the sun. The Z30 is the bigger device, the more modern processor, more powerful processor, bigger screen, AMOLED display, which I'm more of a fan of, dual speakers, loud speakers, bigger, beefier battery, non-removable, and just speedier all around. But I preferred the Z10. I don't know, it looked better, even though it's really smaller. The screen's LCD, but higher density pixel rate, so that made the pictures look a little sharper. Even though some of the text might have looked a little yellow, or the white might have looked a little yellow, I did like it better. And they're still my devices that I have in my box, and the ones that held up the best with almost next to no issues has been the Z30. So I have enjoyed the Z30. That's the one I prefer. But if the Z30 performed more reliably, I would have kept that one as my daily driver then, but it's the Z10. And this one, what are your requirements to appear on your show? Thank you for those of you that have reached out. So this one's actually more on a personal level. So for those of you that have asked me this question, check your inboxes, because I've already sent you a reply. So if you didn't get it, follow up with me, hit me on the socials and say, hey Andres, I didn't get your message. So I'll make sure to rectify that. Okay, so that wraps up the question and answer section. We are going to deal with the news roundup. So you should be hearing the jingle. And if the jingle is not playing, I better fire whoever's doing the audio on this one. Oh, wait, that's me. So, the news roundup, that's basically kind of wrapping up the big question. What impact has COVID-19 had on the market? Look, March was shaping up to be a slow news season. And then it just blew up for like the first 2.5 weeks. It was just nuts. Like, whoa, where did all this come from? These are all the headlines that I'm not going to be going through. You should be seeing on your screen right now. I am not going through any of these headlines because I had to ask them. Because those of you know that follow me on the news roundup, I link to you every single article I go through. None of these I'm going to address because it's just, there's no reason to. So let's go to the browser. Look, there's my mug. Quickly, this is the show. If you go to podcast, you'll see 2 drop-down arrows, the Segovia show, and then off the record. You can filter out off the record to see all the episodes you don't hear when you're subscribed to the podcast. And you'll see which directories my main show is available in the video description down below. You'll see the entire list with links, so you can check that out. Follow me on Instagram as well. Twitter might be going the way of the dinosaur for me because it's way too toxic, man. Way too toxic. But anyway, I'm not getting into that. I'm gonna get into this. So I kind of addressed this already, but I'll be going through a quick rehash because there's a narrative being told by just about 4 or 5 articles that I'm going through here. So this is going to be a very quick news roundup because there's a narrative structure here that I want to go through. That nearly half of realtors say that homebuyer interest has decreased due to coronavirus outbreak. This was reported by Res Media, and that's true. That there are people that were being affected with their income, so of course they couldn't buy, or at least had concerns about their future income, and ultimately they just had to drop out of the market. The thing is, there was also another thing that happened, that with the stock market collapsing like crazy, that there were people liquidating their stocks so they can draw out the money and invest in real estate. So those are called the opportunists, which I'll get to in a bit. Before I move on to this next article, well, I guess might as well touch on it. This is from Housing Wire. Why the housing market might dodge the recession. Why it might dodge the recession. This is a very short one, but the thing is, real estate is actually the safety net for the entire economy, because this is the bank's money. The bank's money that belongs to you. When you deposit into a bank, the bank has to grow the money. That they grow it through interest. They grow it through charging, because they're a business too. But one of the best ways for them to grow the money is to loan it out through mortgages. So that money needs to be cycling. And now when I get to the last segment here about setting the record straight, you'll see how this all comes together, about circling everything to make sure that these things are growing, that they stay in circulation. The housing market, if it takes a hit, there will be no safety net to catch the economy. It'll be in free fall. That's the big deal. Because if money keeps circling in the real estate industry, we can weather this insane storm. So, but Andres, the last recession was housing. Absolutely. Because people couldn't pay back their houses. There's a lot more to that, and if we're going to address it someday, I'll address it someday. I don't see it as pertinent conversation right now. It's been talked about and to some level or another, but I'm not going to delve into all that. But the housing market might be able to dodge a recession because it's not the housing market taking the hit yet. And the reason it won't take a hit is because here in California, I never mentioned it, but some mortgages are going to be frozen for a period of time from some of the big banks because they understand what's going on. So there will be a hit in collections, but it's not a hit on the market. Those are two different things, okay? So just keep that in mind. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve had been cutting the rates so fast that mortgage companies have not been able to keep up with it, because the drop in mortgages now is expected to encourage homeowners to refinance. But some people are going to want to buy. This comes from Yahoo Finance. So let's jump over to the other Yahoo Finance one. Why now is the right time to buy a house? What? Yeah, so this is all, like I said, it's feeding off one another. It's building into this narrative that you'll never see it like this, where prices either stabilize or might come down just a little bit, but the interest rate's dropping. How many times have you heard on the commercials, oh, it's the interest rates are at a historic low, all-time low? This is not a joke. It's true. Because normally when interest rate goes down, prices go up. And when prices come down, interest rate go up. That's the inverse relationship between these two. These two are, the interest rate is dropping faster than the prices of the houses. That's why the house price hasn't really changed, because as I mentioned, opportunists are coming out to do this. As soon as the lockdown happened, I was getting phone calls and emails from people that wanted to buy up. I'm like, whoa, where you guys been this whole time? They want to jump into the real estate industry. And some of my partners, I was concerned because I had a stake in a property, and I'm like, I don't know how the property's going to move. Instead, I'm finding out I went into escrow. They agreed on 30-day terms. A few days later, I found out that they reduced it to 3 weeks. I'm like, whoa, you're going to try to close this thing really fast. And not just that, the buyer got a smashing deal on that, or is getting a smashing deal if they consummate the transaction. Yeah, they came in lower, and because of the whole panic going on, the seller decided to bargain down. So now there's maybe some leeway for some buyers. It's not just a seller's market. This is kind of leveling out. So that's why it's too early to say how much of an impact these 2 weeks of the lockdown have had on the real estate industry. All I can tell you is what I've seen for myself. It's balanced. There are some that dropped off the market. I have sellers that are asking me and just waiting and watching. I thought for sure some of them would just jump on refinancing. They are not jumping into refinancing just yet. They're still considering selling. So I'm like, oh, okay. So that's why I'm keeping them up to date as much as I can. They tune into my show. And those, if you're watching, some of you sellers, you know who you are, and I'm talking to you. So still, it's been interesting. So you want to keep a pulse on what's going on, then you got to like, share, and subscribe to yours truly across everything. All right. So that is it. That's kind of what I wanted to end on. Is it a good time to buy? It depends on who you are and what you're looking for to do. And it kind of goes to this. Coronavirus shock is destroying America's retirement dreams. A lot of people invest in retirement through stocks, IRAs, 401ks, mutual funds, and all that. They just saw most of those things be wiped out. And that's heartbreaking. But the thing is, those that have seen downturns in the economy over the past 100 years would know that's the first to go. But what sustains people through these hardships? Real estate. So is it the right time to buy? If you can, go for it. Just know that, and I always maintain this, real estate, especially when you start growing your estate and invest in rental property income, it's the only income that goes up every single year. No hiccup at all. Even if there's rent control involved, it still goes up. So in hard times, people still need to live somewhere. Economic downturns, people still have to pay rent. Now, this crisis thing is a whole other story, okay? This is something completely different. Completely different. When everybody's being asked to stop what they're doing. This is something different. This is not like a recession. Oh, is a recession coming? Look, even if a recession does come, this is not the same thing. These unemployment numbers, the stock collapsing and all that, this is different. This is not as a result because of faulty investments, of not being able to pay back this or that. This is a result of governments all over the world saying, stop what you're doing, so we can stop the spread of this new novel virus that's spreading everywhere. So those are the two things that people have to separate. All right. So yeah, I do recommend buying. It's the most solid way to invest. So if you want to learn more about that, then by all means, this is the other place you got to contact to go to my business website, www.segoviares.com, because that's all things real estate. So you can communicate to me from there. My number and email is all listed there, so you can reach out to yours truly, so we can set up a consultation just like this. So we can do it at your convenience to find out where you are in your finances, especially here in California, because we are being somewhat hard hit. Okay, so that's that for the news roundup, and that's the way the news goes. So now we enter this setting the record straight. I'm going to try to keep this one as brief as possible because I'm running up on time here. This setting the record straight, I want to balance this whole hysteria, which I call media-induced panic, versus the whole argument that, just open up the economy, let everybody go back to work. You get infected, survival of the fittest. Charles Darwin's evolutionary theory is coming true. Look, there's got to be a balance here, folks. It's the ones that are not contributing are the ones that are being targeted. That's bull. I call bull on that. You want to know why? Those are the people that most deserve our respect because they've already given everything. They've given everything for you to be able to have what you have. And for those of you that hold that mindset, that's like, well, they get it too bad. They're not contributing anything. That is, you have zero respect or zero regard for life. Seriously. I do not value that opinion at all. Well, you got to weigh the survival of humanity and all that. You know, when there's always trouble, look, screw the identity politics, okay? Whenever there's been trouble, a calamity or whatever, the Titanic, it's like the men had to stay behind on the boat. There were limited boats. Who do they prioritize? Women, children, elderly. It's always been that way. You go, live. Men, sacrifice yourselves. That's the only time that identity politics goes out the window. Like right now in this emergency crisis, it's like plastic. Oh, we got to get rid of the straws. We got to get rid of the plastic bags. You know, the one-time single-use bags. We got to get rid of all that so we can save our environment. Now what's happening? Eliminate the reusable bags because that's recirculating the coronavirus. Bring back the single-use bags. What? So plastic's good again? Folks, you can't make this stuff up. You got to balance the hysteria and the normalize everything crowd. Open everything up. The normalize everything crowd says go back to work, survival of the fittest, don't destroy the economy. The problem with that argument now is that we have situations where Amazon warehouses, at least 4 last I saw, I'm sure there's probably more now, that have coronavirus circulating through there. So now the concern is that the deliveries are going to be held back. There's going to be effects on the transmission of the goods and services from Amazon warehouses. But the bigger concern from there is, what about the delivery? Are they delivering the coronavirus to the clients? The same thing is happening with some Trader Joe's in New York City. New York is considered the epicenter or one of the serious hotspots in the coronavirus. So when you have that, some Trader Joe's had to close down for disinfecting and all that. Now that's affecting the produce that can get to people that desperately need it there in New York because everybody's clustered there. It's very dense. So that's the situation that you have when you got to have some kind of balance. The other problem is that because of all this, there's the hysteria crowd. The world is ending. People are dying. Stay indoors. Lock everything down. They also say, look, America now leads the whole world in cases. So I'm going to go to this other one. So this is from the Johns Hopkins University that's tracking everything. I'm going to refresh it here. And so now you get to see a timestamp about where I am on all this. Where you see the United States leading and followed closely by Italy, or not so closely by Italy. Oh, look, it's crashed. Let me refresh. When you see all this, you trust the Chinese numbers? I don't. Never did. Who does? Not even. Look, we can't even trust the World Health Organization. Okay, so no, I do not trust the Chinese numbers. They've been way off since the beginning. And they silenced the critics, and they silenced the whistleblowers, and they silenced anybody trying warning the world about this before it even got a hand. So they've been hiding whatever's been going on there. I don't trust the numbers. And I'm not going to say much more than that, other than Russia's hiding it too. Iran even worse. And even worse than that is Turkey. They're desperately hiding this because they are not only silencing the whistleblowers, but also offing the whistleblowers. Just giving you a heads up about that. But the hysteria says stop everything, stop moving everything. It doesn't matter if it's essential or non-essential business. Stay home for the sake of everybody. The problem with that is we will all die. How would you get your food? How would your electricity stay on? How would your water keep running? We can't stop everything. That's why we need a balance of things. I'm in favor of a lockdown/quarantine thing that's been going on. I understand what it's for. Look, it's not to say that people are not going to get infected. They will get infected. And as I've maintained for a while now, I've said this is going to be a seasonal thing. And now Dr. Fauci has said just to the same effect. I'm like, I've been saying that for a while. That nobody's saying they're going to eliminate the virus right now. That's not going to happen. Not going to eradicate it. We have a vaccine. It's the end of it. Not like eliminating polio. Polio was all but extinct and makes a big return because of immigrant crossings on the border, you know? So other places have not been able to eradicate that. So the point is that if it's a seasonal thing, we're going to learn from what's happening now. So we're hoping that when the hot season comes around, it either eliminates the virus or at the very least makes it lay dormant. So when it does rear its ugly head during the cold seasons, now we have a way to attack it. The concern is because it's so transmissible, highly contagious, and new, that it affects the most vulnerable amongst us, from the elderly and those with underlying health conditions. Doesn't matter what ages they are, anybody could get sick. But the thing is that you don't have a good enough immune system, you can't battle this out. And if everybody is just being like among themselves and everybody's transmitting it like crazy, and they all try to go to the emergency room at the same time, you're going to overwhelm the health system. And when you overwhelm the health system, now you have people that are not just going to die from this virus, they're going to die from their own condition they're already dealing with. Whatever disease they've already been battling, they won't have the attention given by the medical professionals to handle them, because they're dealing with this other thing that's happening. So that's the concern, that they want to limit how many people are rushing out to the hospital. That's why they're trying to make drive-in testing. That's why they want to do at-home testing kits, so you don't have to be going to the hospital just to get tested and take up resources over there. It's crazy. So those are the things that you got to keep in mind as to what is happening. We need a balance of both. If you have a non-essential business, then look, that's what the whole stimulus package was all about, to try to provide for you in this time of need. Also why they expedited the unemployment benefits, to just be like, just give it to them because of the situation at hand. The thing is that also is not to create a system of welfare that once the economy opens up again, that some people will be like, hey, I'm getting paid more to stay home instead of going out to work, because now we're going to have less people contributing to the workforce. That will now become a bigger burden that will in of itself collapse the economy, because there wouldn't be enough people contributing to the economy to sustain the amount of money that's being paid out by the government. So that's what's going on. We need to keep the supply chains working. Shout out to the medics and the first responders, everybody on the front lines battling this, but a very big shout out and kudos to those that are completely underlooked. No one's really giving them their due. It's the truck drivers, folks. They keep the supply chain going. Hats off to you. Because without you, we all die. Literally. Like, if we can't get the supplies over to the medical professionals, if we can't get the stuff over to the people, the food, the necessities that they need day by day, the toilet paper, but then how are we going to survive? You bet for sure it's going to lead to civil unrest if that happens, if they can't get it out. So shout out to the truckers. We need you more than ever. So I do have more to say about this, okay? But I have so much to say that you might end up putting a tinfoil hat on. But I'm not going to say it in here. It's going to be for you to check it out on Off the Record. Yeah, I just plugged it in. That's why this is your last chance right here to pick up this URL, to put it into Castro if you're on iOS, or to put it into Google Podcasts if you're on Android, so you can check out Off the Record. Folks, this is the conclusion part. Thank you so much for staying with me this whole time. It's my first anniversary episode. If you like this format, by all means, let me know. It's just it kind of changes the way I'm going to approach the show, because I do like this setup. It's just that it requires a lot more show prep, a lot more time that at the moment I really don't have, and I do want to spend considerably more time with my family because I have to. I've been enjoying homeschooling them every chance that I get, and I do want to spend more time with them, so I want to finish up whatever I can. So what I'm going to change now for the main show, what I used to just label PSAs or public service announcements, they're just going to become episodes on their own rights, but they will be like a brief informational episodes. So technically I've done about 80 episodes, but if I was counting just the main episode without the PSAs, this would be like episode 80 or whatever it is. But no, I'm like, episode 60, I'm way beyond that, like episode 80 altogether. But when you count it Off the Record, beyond 100, folks. There's a lot of stuff that I've done, and I got to dive into the well to bring some stuff up. I want to introduce Throwback Thursday. So there's a lot of different things that I want to do. There's always so much I can do as an individual, but because I need to give more attention to my family and also attention to the book that I have to finish, That's why I'm going to be changing the approach that I do for the show for the very near for the short term. So we'll see how the next few months play out, especially with this lockdown. I'll probably devote time to this, but this will be like a once a month thing where I wrap everything up. But in the meanwhile, I'll be doing my regular episodes, just more condensed versions of them as often as I can. It won't just be a Monday thing. So, like I said, follow the podcast on all the directories, or on any of your favorite directories, and you'll know. Don't just subscribe to YouTube, because you're not going to get the main show here or all the show here. There's a lot of content everywhere else. Follow me on, all right, if you want to follow me on the main things, the podcast, get it. But if you're going to sign up to Off the Record, you got everything. Everything is there. So you don't have to get this app and then get another app and then sign on both. No, you get the Off the Record link down here. You have everything. You don't got to do anything else. So it's there. And follow me, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell on YouTube so you know when I put out a video, including the Creator Corner, because I do intend to do more of those random subjects. A lot of good stuff that I want to talk about and that you'll probably be interested in hearing too. And then Facebook. Instagram gives you the behind the scenes stuff of what I do. So if you're interested in that on a more personal level, by all means, check it out. But Facebook is where it's the hub of everything, where Instagram kind of feeds into that. My main show, everything's posted there. And so those are the main ones that you got to know. And all links are available at www.theandresegovia.com. My books are available on Amazon. The Andre Segovia Show only in print. The Many Misadventures of Enoch Bellagio are available as print and Kindle. Audiobooks are in the works. Yes, so that's another thing that I'm trying to work on, which is why it's eating up into my time. But that's that. Thank you so very much for participating in this first anniversary episode. It's been a great ride. These are crazy times we live in, folks. So I really enjoy that. You've been here with me along for the ride, and we'll see how the rest of this thing goes. So stay safe, stay healthy, and be mindful, and be wise about what you do right now, because the best thing you can do for yourself is be vigilant. And stay tuned. I'll see you on the next one.